It's honestly kind of boring.
The stuff that you never would have wanted to do when you were flying planes.
No, yeah, no, I'm very much like an operator.
Yeah.
Like I love to be running and gunning and in the fight and all that stuff. Behind the scenes stuff bores me. Like I know it has to be done, and I
Sure.
know there's people that have to, and I've done some of it. Like I've done full circle. I bought the bombs that are dropped from the B-52s. I bought,
That's cool.
and then I've been the guy on
dropping them.
I've dropped the bombs.
Yeah,
I bought the bombs, and I've been on the guy talking to the jets in the air that dropped the bombs. Like it's been a whole full circle thing. So I've seen it from every aspect, from acquisition, operation, and all that stuff. And then I've been in the division. I was a division asset, like helping all the training pieces, make sure their stuff can get bought and maintained and like all that stuff.
Nice.
But it kind of sucks. And it took a toll, and it probably had to do with just some of the people are like extremely toxic.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't my jam.
Sure.
And so one day I just called up my contract boss and just said, "Oh man, I'm done." And so in the meantime, on the side, I've been creating other like entrepreneur ventures, because that's what I love to do now. And
let's talk about those. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just called him up and was like, "I'm done." He's like, "Cool, man." He's like, "Hey, you're good by me. You can come back anytime you want."
Nice.
He's like, "Just shoot me an email, say you're done." I'm like, "Cool." So I did, and I turned in my stuff and I went skiing. It was awesome.
Nice.
And then I fully jumped into my entrepreneur venture. I'd had stuff again on the side. I had my personal training, health coaching business for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so I just poured more into that. I also started my leadership consulting. So that was from the military. I saw a lot of poor examples of leadership.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how can I correct this? Because this is crazy. We go to all the same leadership schools, but everybody sucks still. You not only suck as a human being, as a leader, you suck as a human being.
Yeah.
Like, why is that? And so I did a lot of research and whatever. And it's actually my master's degree. I wrote a thesis on, leadership in the workplace, and it's using emotional intelligence to get it there.
Why do you think it's like, to your point, like these organizations, as great as the military, and there's exceptional leaders in there. And I think this is probably common with I've never served the military, obviously, but like, I think in any organization, there's these really, really tremendous leaders. And then there's also just people that are just terrible at it. Like, what do you think is emotional intelligence?
It's emotional intelligence. That's the piece.
Okay.
And that's what I found in my research, my study. And that's why I wrote my master's thesis on it, was because I'm like, this is what I found. And this is it. And it's stuff that I've used. That's how I, mended that.
I like you said, that example. Yeah.
That,
the divide
in our unit and things like that. So this works. Like this is, and it's been studied for a long time. The term was actually coined in the early 90s. But emotional intelligence
has been around before that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically understanding your emotions and yourself, understanding others, and managing that impact.
Is it a muscle that you can build? Or is it,
it is
or a skill, I should say, you can develop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But it's soft skill. It's not a hard skill.
Sure.
You mentioned like muscles and like, oh, I'm picking up this table.
No, but but
it's more like, it's mentally and emotionally, those soft skills, what you can do first starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
And you're like aware. You got to eat a lot of humble pie when you are learning about and trying to grow your emotional intelligence. Yeah. And it starts with that self-awareness. And you have to be like, okay, I am getting upset about this. What is making me upset? Should I be getting upset? Like having those conversations with yourself and realizing, and then wanting to grow and change. And that's what it starts with. And then there's other things throughout there that you do and techniques that you learn. And that's what I teach with my leadership consulting, and go into organizations or go to conferences and speak and things like that, is how to do that as a leader. Because we go through all those, like I said, military goes through all these leadership courses, but they just still suck. So how do we implement those things? And this was years ago when I went through a lot of those courses, and I hear now that they're starting to implement that some, which I'm like, oh my goodness, like
about time, right?
About time. You need to push that through a lot faster. But, it has to do with active listening skills and different things like that. So there are skills that you can learn. But yeah, that's what I try and teach. That's where I came up with that, because I was like, cool. There is a need. And so I leaned into that, and I, spoken at different organizations and conferences and things and given workshops. And then I have my personal training and health coaching. And then the podcast, started that. And I do podcasting that. It's based around emotional intelligence with also
It's really good,
workshops.
by the way. People should listen to it. I recommend it.
Yes, thank
Very
you.
good.
Better You is Better
Yes.
Living. Go check it out.
Yeah, we'll put a link to it for sure.
And then I also do consulting for small businesses, because that, again, entrepreneurship is my passion.
Yeah.
So I work at a small business development center just part-time. And it's just a great way to stay plugged into that community and to help others. And so I get to do that. And that's a blast too. It's kind of like that we mentioned earlier, that kind of rewarding or finding purpose or meaning. It can be hard. It's not all rainbows and lollipops, because there's a lot of people that come in and they're just like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. And you tell them all this stuff and then they never come back and they don't do any of it, because small business is hard.
Yeah.
But then the ones that really like listen and really dive in and work hard, and it's great to see them succeed, to help them get grant money, to, see their business just grow, or their, and their social media followings and things like that. Like I've had some clients and they just went all in, and
That's
they
cool.
exploded like overnight almost. They have all these followers and all these sponsors, and like they do all this fun stuff.